how do you find it's different doing something like that where you're doing multiple things at the same time versus I'm just working on this beat or just working on this remix or just working on this album? How does that change for you?
I was, trying to battle time. Like, being put under pressure and saying, we need this by this day. Okay. Schedule this, schedule that. I don't even know how it was scheduled, but I had to do 3 sessions in a day, starting at noon. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get out of it till like midnight.
Wow, that's crazy. And
Yep.
didn't someone from MTV connect you with the jump around job?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
It was a while ago. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But when I did it, I did it. And, shout out to OG Everlast. It was great. The original versions, I loved it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, I got to make something equally dope. And that's what I did. I didn't try to outdo nothing. I just said, let me do something equal.
And that's the thing, at least to me as a listener, loving all the different remixes that you've done is, like you said, with Night Train, Jump Around, Shut Them Down, they're so different. And that's the thing that always impressed me about them. Because when I heard Shut Them Down in particular, because that beat, the Shut Them Down original beat is so unorthodox and unusual, especially at the time, that yours is sonically just in a different atmosphere.
Yeah, it was unheard of. People never heard nothing like this before. And then that was my stomp in the music business. That remix right there I was coming with kicking a hole right through the game.
Right. Yeah, it worked. And
Yes,
at the same time, you were also getting known and were early in the game for the Adlibs, which you had been doing at that point for years.
Yeah,
so
just a signature thing to let people know it's me. That's all.
And now, of course, people make such a big deal, but you'd been doing it since the early 90s. So
yep, been doing it early.
Yeah.
Like after my first gig, I started doing that.
And that was just more to put your vocals on it so people would know, or
just to put my voice, not vocals, just my voice.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
If I'm putting vocals on something, I'm rapping, but or Adlibs is just Adlibs.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And with having this huge string of stuff and throughout the 90s, by the time we get to Soul Survivor, how had you obviously that's a solo record now with CL Smooth at this point, but how did you have to look at yourself and evolve to be like, I'm going to be up in front as the artist by myself instead of being in a duo? How did that work for you mentally?
I mean, it was different, but it was a little rough, the parting ways, but it was something that just had to happen, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Not to speak on any, say anything bad about anybody or not. It was just I took a different route and I had to go my way. And so when I did, Steve Rifkin signed me, gave me a shot. And so Loud at the time was like the hottest hip hop label in the game. And I was a part of it. And that was dope. And then I said, you know what? I don't need much. I got, to make a compilation rap album, I got who I need. Got everybody here. Wu-Tang, everybody was on Loud. Mobb Deep, everybody. And so, and then, once I started making the album, I just started reaching out to different artists, Common, Nori, Pun, O.C., Ghostface, Ray. That was all automatic though.
Well, I was going to say, the O.C. is a lesser discussed one, but Respect Mine's one of my.
Respect Mine. That's my shit. And shout out to him because he really laced that for me.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
And one that I always thought was hilarious too was the Truly Yours '98 with a Large
yeah,
Professor and
yeah,
Coogee Rap.
yeah. I love that. I love that Coogee rap song. I did that, out of to show the love I had for that song. And having G Rap and Large on there, that was awesome. That was one of my favorite Marley beats.
Okay. And
Yeah,
lyrically, what did you like about what G Rap did on the original?
everything, everything. I told you that's my favorite. That's my favorite G Rap song. Was Truly Yours. You know what I'm saying? It was just different. He's made a lot of classics, but there was something about Truly Yours that made me want to make it over. That's how
Okay.
much I loved it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
And plus, I knew the elements of the samples that were used, so I was like, let me try something.
So then, speaking of Large Professor, obviously you'd worked with him back in the days. So
Yeah.
as you guys reconnect to do Truly Yours '98, how has the conversation changed? How has the technology changed? How has the interaction changed?
We just brought back the old vibes when I used to come to Flushing, Queens, and we've done some work, some previous unreleased, not previous, but at that time unreleased music that no one's ever heard. We got this one song. Then there's so much stuff that we actually used to play with and share and dig together and all that stuff. But it was just one of those good vibe things where he knew the song, he knew what it was, he knew what I was trying to do, and I called him on it, and he came and represented. You know what I'm saying? And G Rap, that was automatic. He had to be on it. That's his song.
Yeah, that one is great. And
Thank
of
you.
course, yeah, you're welcome. Also on Soul Survivor, of course, you got the MC8 on there, you got Corrupt on there. So was that
West Coast.
what's that?
West Coast.
Yeah. So was that just because out of pure respect, or you wanted to show love for the West, or how did that end up happening?
Well, show love for the West and respecting, because the Chronic was out. Those guys were on top of the world. You know what I'm saying? And showing love and respect to Pete Rock. That's huge. And so I borrowed him. I borrowed the West Coast and put him on the East Coast album. And Corrupt, he's originally from Philly, and so it's in him already. You know what I'm saying? And he's an amazing MC. You know what I'm saying? And so is Inspector Deck. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Wu-Tang. There's no words when it comes to Wu-Tang Clan. That's they're lyrical geniuses, and that's that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So then after Soul Survivor, of course you did, and you've done so many independent projects, solo artists, and then collaborations, collaborative albums. How did you find going into the 2000s, shifting to the independent game was different than the major label game for you in the 90s?
Well, one thing about me is that I'm not a follower. I'm sort of a leader, or the opposite. And so, I just kind of do things the way I've been doing them. You know what I'm saying? But with a twist now, because it's a new time, a new day, new age. But I still like to keep that old school element in my beats. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes make a straight old school 90s joint, because, that sound is missed today. And so I just, I'm the one that could actually, recreate it, because I still have beats from that time. And I put out, I'm doing the SP 1200 Part 2 instrumental albums coming out in November. Part 1, I did Part 1 with, all SP old beats that weren't used, and my Instrumental series, and Soul Survivor series. Just keep making it, man. Just keep creating and keep coming up with different things to do. That's all. It's fun for me.
Right. Oh, you can tell, because even with some of the early collaborative stuff like the Edo G project, the Camp Low, Smith and Wesson, different types of artists, different sounds, different effects. So with that, what was it like then doing so many individual tracks or different things, but then getting back to focusing on one, doing something with a whole project in mind with one artist?
Well, you kind of got to get a feel on the artists themselves, and what they like, and play beats in front of them and intrigue them with sound. And that's how basically that happened. So, but when I was working on Camp Low, they have a certain style. And so the beats they picked out was a little different from what not too much different, but it was just Pete Rock shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just did it in a way that they would appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Geechee Suede. He's doing great solo work right now, which is awesome. And it's just basically everyone's different from each other. So everyone's gonna want something that fits them. And so I just kind of work it like that,
Okay. And with I thought it was too interesting with the Smith and Wesson project, because since they, with the beat miners in particular, as you approached Monumental, Smith and Wesson is known for their sound, just as Camp
boom
Low.
bap, straight boom bap guys. Brooklyn represent. You know what I'm saying? And when I got with them to do Monumental, it was just that, just the street vibe. You know what I mean? Like, and in the studio, it's just the streets in the studio. You know what I'm saying? And that's always fun because it's music. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing negative. This is music we're doing, and these guys are dope. They're legends. You know what I'm saying? And this is gonna be easy. You know what I mean? But I was very grateful and fortunate enough to work with them and to create a whole album project with them. Is even more awesome. So shout out to those guys, and hip hop keeps us alive and strong.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And with Ed O.G. with My Own Worst Enemy, I remember he was telling me that you guys were like initially doing stuff back and forth, but then he would have to drive down or whatever.
From Boston to New York.
Yeah.
And we get it in. You know what I'm saying? We did a few joints before we did My Worst Enemy, and then once we did those, it was fun because it's Ed O.G. I used to always rock I Gotta Have It and all his other stuff, and we did a joint called Situations too. But the album we did together, there's only one song I didn't do on there, and that's the joint with Master Ace. So that's somebody else's production, but everything else was me. And Diamond D did a song on there.
Yeah, another great one, Diamond D. So I know you got Peach Instrumentals 4.
Yes.
What
5 coming soon. Peach Instrumentals 5 I'm working on right now.
Okay. And then as we're wrapping up, and what should people be looking out for or paying attention to for you?
Wow, big things, man. I'm working with an artist that I'm gonna announce real soon, producing a whole album for him. And that's gonna be big, and it's gonna be real dope. And I'm putting my foot in it. And this is just to let people know, man, I ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm like that huge spike you got to get around. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, there it is. Well, P Rock, thanks so much for coming through to Unique Access, man. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, brother.
And I want you to listen real close to me. I'm going to ask you some real simple questions, and I want some real simple answers. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
You said that you couldn't have possibly been at the crime scene at 11:15 because you were in the bookstore buying my audio book and my hardcover book at 11:15 when the crime scene occurred in Soren's book.
The history of gangster rap.
So you couldn't have been at the crime scene because you were buying the books.
Right. At 11:15, I was at the bookstore at 11:15, and when I bought the books and accidentally left them at the store.
So at 11:15, you couldn't have been at the crime scene because you were buying books, right?
At 11:15, when I was leaving, it was some people coming in, and I forgot to grab
But you don't remember who
what they look
people,
like.
what they look like or nothing, right?
No.
So, at 12:15, you were in the bookstore buying my audio book and hardcover book and Soren's book at 12:15. So you couldn't have been at the scene because you were buying the books, right?
Yeah, at 12, exactly, at 12:15 exactly, I was at the bookstore.
Now you see. You know you done fucked up.
What you mean?
First you said you were at the bookstore at 11:15, and then you said it was 12:15. You know you done fucked up, man. He fucked up.
Yeah, he fucked up.
He fucked up.
Man, you confusing me, man.
So, you get my book, my audio book, 40 years in Soren's book, History of Gangster Rap, and if you don't, you know you done fucked up, right?
Man, the more those cops ask me questions, the more I wish I bought them motherfucking books.